Newly married and already schemed against by his mother-in-law and husband. Taught him to break dishes to avoid chores. Faked illness to make me free labor. Did they think I was easy to manipulate? I borrowed her priceless family heirloom, blue and white porcelain, let him smash it, and then exposed on my livestream that it was a $10 fake. Demand $500,000 from me. Not a chance. This family. Stay married for what? The holidays. His mother-in-law always teaches my husband to slack off. If your wife tells you to wash dishes again, break a few on purpose. She won't dare to ask you again. My husband followed her advice and ruined my carefully chosen dishes. Crash. A crisp shattering sound came from the kitchen. My husband walked out looking innocent. Honey, I accidentally broke 2 more plates. I was boiling with anger. He'd already broken 5 plates in 2 days. Seeing my dark expression, he quietly tried to explain. There was too much soap on my hands. Slippery. And I just couldn't hold on. Before I could say anything, his mother-in-law jumped in to scold him. How can you be so clumsy? These dishes aren't cheap. And your wife has to buy more. It's such a waste of money. Men are just unreliable when it comes to chores. She then turned to me with a helpless look. Qianqin, you see, it's my fault for spoiling him. He's so grown up and still doesn't know how to do housework. As she spoke, she rolled up her sleeves and started heading to the kitchen. I'll wash them instead. You guys just rest. Before she could finish, she let out a dramatic cry and clutched her right wrist. Mom, my husband rushed to support her. Concerned, is your tendinitis acting up again? His mother-in-law sighed with self-pity. I'm just useless. How did I end up with this awful condition where it hurts every time I exert myself? She shoved my husband toward the kitchen. You go. Keep washing the dishes. If you break more, just buy replacements. It's all about practice. We can't always make Qianqin do everything. I quickly stopped them. Forget it. I'll do it instead. Those dishes were carefully handpicked by me and cost over $2,000. If my husband kept at it, there wouldn't be any left. My husband visibly relaxed but still awkwardly said, it's all my fault for being so clumsy and not being able to help you. I sighed deeply. Before marriage, we'd agreed to split the chores equally. Who knew he'd end up being useless at everything? If I asked him to mop, the floor would be covered in water streaks, and I'd nearly slip and fall. Now he's destroyed my beloved dishes. His mother-in-law's health isn't great and can't be relied on either. Looks like I'll have to handle everything myself in the future. Resigned, I went to the kitchen to clean up the mess. For the next 2 days, I didn't dare let him into the kitchen. I was afraid he'd break something else, and I'd have to spend money again to replace it. But one day, my plans to work overtime were cancelled, and I came home early, only to overhear my husband and mother-in-law talking. Mom, your trick works so well. I broke 5 plates. And sure enough, Lin Qian doesn't make me do any chores anymore, my husband said excitedly. His mother-in-law smugly replied, of course, old ginger is spicier. After all, don't worry, if she ever asks you to wash dishes again, just keep breaking them. Break enough, and she'll feel the pain in her wallet and won't dare to boss you around anymore. But if she ends up doing all the chores herself, won't she feel resentful? My husband asked, slightly worried. So what? His mother-in-law scoffed. Quote, cooking and cleaning are what women are supposed to do anyway. You're a man. How can you spend all day in the kitchen? Besides, we spent so much money marrying her. What's wrong with making her work a bit more? Just listen to me. Play dumb and mess things up. It's better than letting her boss you around every day. My husband nodded. Got it. His mother-in-law crossed her legs and leisurely peeled an apple. Her hands moved deftly. No sign of any pain or stiffness. So her tendinitis was fake too. She kept teaching him. Remember, no matter what she asks you to do, mess it up. Sweet talk her while staying lazy. Say nice things. And she'll end up doing all the work without being able to blame us. My husband nodded eagerly. My heart turned cold as I listened. We'd only been married for half a month, and I'd already witnessed this side of my husband and mother-in-law. The happiness I thought I had was all a lie. Fine, if they like playing games, I'll play along. Let's see who ends up crying in the end. I quietly retreated from the door and waited half an hour before acting like I'd just come home. Ah, Qianqin, you're back. Come have some fruit. His mother-in-law greeted me warmly. She held a plate of apple slices. The edges browned from oxidation. Some pieces had faint bite marks. Leftovers she had probably just eaten and tossed on the plate for me. My husband chimed in enthusiastically. Honey, you've worked so hard today. Let me heat up dinner for you. He made a show of heading to the kitchen. Get back here. His mother-in-law stopped him sternly. You're so careless. You'll just spill the chicken soup I saved for Qianqin. My husband immediately froze, scratching his head sheepishly. Mom's right. That's old hen soup that's been simmering all afternoon. It'd be such a waste if I spilled it. I watched their little performance. Sweet words but no real action. Clearly, they were waiting for me to do it all myself. But I knew whatever they left me would just be scraps. Not worth eating. So I smiled faintly. No need. I already ate out. His mother-in-law visibly relaxed, but then seemed to remember something. By the way, Qianqin, we're running out of dishes. You see? I cut her off. I'll buy new ones when I have time. My husband quickly jumped in. If you're too busy, I can stop by the store tomorrow and grab a few. Don't you go. His mother-in-law interrupted. You have no eye for quality. If the dishes are too thin, they'll break easily. It's better if Qianqin goes. She's more careful when picking things out. I couldn't help but sneer internally. This woman was truly calculating. Not only did she refuse to let her son put in any effort, but she wouldn't even let him spend money. Everything, work and expenses, was pushed onto me. Fine, if that's how they want it, I'll make sure to pick out something unforgettable. The next evening, I pretended to forget to buy dishes. Mom, can I borrow a few bowls from your house? We can't eat out of plastic containers. After all, I asked his mother-in-law. She always tried to maintain the image of a kind and understanding mother-in-law. So of course, she agreed. No problem. Take whatever you need. Just bring them back later. Her house was just 2 steps from ours. When I got there, I headed straight for her display shelf. She always kept her treasures out in the open, never locked away in cabinets. There it was. A plain-looking white and blue porcelain bowl. My husband had once told me it was her priceless family heirloom, and the most valuable thing in the house. I had no idea how much it was worth, but if it broke, it'd definitely hurt her deeply. Along with the blue and white bowl, I grabbed a few ordinary ones from her kitchen to make things look natural. After dinner, I washed all the ordinary bowls, then pulled out the blue and white one. I lathered it with a thick layer of soap, mixed it with some chopsticks and spoons, and set it aside. Honey, I'm exhausted from work today. Can you wash the rest of the dishes? I said, rubbing my shoulders and looking tired. Okay, my husband agreed reluctantly, but as soon as he turned the corner, he whispered to his mother-in-law, why is she making me do this again? Can't she just do it herself? Just go. His mother-in-law urged him. Break a few more, and she'll learn her lesson. They thought I couldn't hear, but I was paying close attention this time. I sat back on the couch, pretending to rest. 3 minutes later, the sound of shattering porcelain came from the kitchen. Honey, I slipped again. You're not mad, right? He peeked his head out nervously. I walked over, feigning annoyance. On the floor lay the shattered remains of the blue and white bowl, her so-called priceless heirloom. What's wrong with you? Can't even hold a bowl? I scolded him. It wasn't on purpose this time. It just slipped. He defended himself. Of course, it did. I'd used 2 full pumps of dish soap to make sure it was slippery. His mother-in-law quickly stepped in to smooth things over. It's fine. Qianqin, don't be mad. Couples shouldn't fight over small things like this. I frowned and looked guilty. Mom, this is the bowl one borrowed from you. Now it's broken. I feel awful. It's just a bowl, not worth much, she said grandly. My husband chimed in. Yeah, honey, Mom doesn't mind. Don't make a big deal out of it. I'll go to the store with you tomorrow and buy a new one for her. His tone was so casual, like it didn't matter at all. I couldn't help but smirk internally. Hey, let's see where he's going to find another blue and white porcelain bowl to replace it for his mom. I masked my true emotions and put on a regretful face. I just thought this bowl was so special. You can't find one like it in the supermarket. His mother-in-law waved it off carelessly. Special or not, it's just a bowl for eating, right? If you can't buy the same one, then so be it. What's the big deal? Don't worry, your mother-in-law isn't so poor that she'd fuss over a single bowl. I placed my hand over my chest and let out a sigh of relief. That's good. I was afraid you'd blame me. As I spoke, I squatted down to clean up the shattered porcelain pieces. When I stood up, I accidentally dropped one shard. It rolled all the way to his mother-in-law's feet. She instinctively looked down, and suddenly her expression froze. Earlier, I'd wiped the soap off the shards so the patterns were clearly visible. Her eyes locked onto it. Her fingers trembled slightly, and even her breathing turned rapid. The pretense of nonchalance she had just moments ago froze completely. The corners of her mouth drooped, and her face shifted from red to white, then to green. Mom, what's wrong? My husband noticed something wasn't right and leaned in, puzzled. His mother-in-law ignored him, stiffly raising her head, her voice trembling. Qianqin, this bowl, where did it come from? I replied matter-of-factly, from your display shelf. Of course. Didn't you say I could borrow anything? I thought the bowl looked unique, and it'd be great for plating. So I picked it. She looked like she couldn't believe it, her lips trembling as she suddenly lunged toward the bag I was holding. She dumped out all the broken porcelain pieces to inspect them. The white background, the blue floral patterns. No one knew them better than she did. After confirming, she let out a blood-curdling scream, her eyes bulging wide. Then, her body went limp, and she collapsed heavily to the floor. Mom, what's wrong? Get up. My husband, still clueless, rushed to help her, but she shoved him away. You idiot, who told you to break my bowl? My husband froze, looking aggrieved. Mom, it's just a bowl, and you said earlier, shut up. She cut him off sharply, her voice rising. This is my family heirloom. You fool, do you know how much it's worth? She clutched her chest in anguish. Over 10 million. You've broken a blue and white porcelain bowl worth over 10 million. What? My husband was stunned. Mom, I really didn't know. He scrambled to explain, but his mother-in-law, consumed by grief, wasn't listening. Didn't know? You're not just stupid, you're blind. Look at the glaze, the patterns. How could you mistake this for an ordinary bowl? If you paid more attention and stopped slacking off, would this have happened? Having suffered such a huge loss, his mother-in-law's maternal instincts vanished completely. She grabbed the TV remote from the coffee table and hurled it at my husband. How did I give birth to such a useless fool? You can't even wash a bowl properly. What can you do? Seeing that their argument was escalating, I quickly stepped in and held his mother-in-law back. In the most considerate tone, I said, Mom, please don't be mad. It wasn't intentional. Ajia is just clumsy. He's broken so many of my bowls before, and I never held it against him. We're family. We can't let a single bowl ruin our harmony, right? I threw her own words back at her. His mother-in-law couldn't help but snap back. How can you compare my heirloom to your cheap bowls? I adopted a slightly aggrieved tone. Mom, how can you say that? Even if my bowls are cheap, I picked them out carefully. Are you saying only your heirloom is valuable, but the things I put thought into are worthless? Or is it that breaking your bowl is unacceptable, but breaking mine is perfectly fine? His mother-in-law, caught in her own logic, turned red, then white, and stammered. That's not what I meant. I sighed dramatically. If only, the first time Ajia broke a bowl, we had stood united and helped him fix this bad habit, we wouldn't be in this situation now. Her face flushed with embarrassment, but she stayed silent. She was clearly feeling guilty, knowing full well that she had encouraged the bowl-breaking habit. She just hadn't expected it to backfire on her. Every word I said hit her where it hurt, leaving her unable to lash out at me or blindly protect her son without losing face. Watching the identical expressions of frustration on both their faces brought me immense satisfaction. But I knew this wasn't the end. His mother-in-law had taken an unexpected hit this time, and who knows what tricks she'd come up with next. Sure enough, the peace lasted only a day. The next evening after work, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were already waiting in the living room when I got home. Sis, I heard Mom's treasure got smashed at your place? I mean, how could you just casually take something so valuable? That was supposed to be our family heirloom, split between me and my brother. And now it's gone, worth over 10 million. How are you going to compensate me for my share? My brother-in-law wasted no time cutting to the chase, his tone full of dissatisfaction. His mother-in-law conveniently wiped a tear. It's all my fault. If only I'd hidden that bowl earlier. My sister-in-law shot me a sideways glance, her tone pointed. Mom, that bowl sat on the shelf for years without any issues. The moment Sis came into the picture, it's gone. How can you blame yourself? My husband glanced at me uneasily, weakly attempting to explain. It wasn't Qianqin's fault. I dropped it. Yeah, but if Sis hadn't taken the bowl, would you have smashed it at Mom's house? My brother-in-law interrupted. My husband fell silent, lowering his head. His mother-in-law chimed in hesitantly. Qianqin, I know you didn't mean to, but that blue and white porcelain was meant for the boys. Now that it's gone, what about their share? I remained calm and asked. Mom, are you saying you want me to pay you back? His mother-in-law looked awkward. Oh, let's not call it paying back. It's just, you know, clear accounts make for good family relations. That bowl was worth a lot. We can't just let your brother-in-law's family suffer a loss like this, right? I asked, puzzled. But wasn't it Ajia who broke the bowl? Shouldn't he be the one to pay? His mother-in-law replied matter-of-factly. You two are married, so you're one family. Besides, you also have some responsibility. This can't all fall on Ajia. At this point, my husband finally stepped up, meekly saying, Mom, that was a priceless antique. Qianqin doesn't have that kind of money to pay. His mother-in-law rolled her eyes. And you do? At least Qianqin has her dowry in savings. What do you have? You spent everything just to get married. What do you have to pay with? Oh, so this was their real goal, to drain my savings and reclaim the dowry. What a clever plan. I looked at my husband, who was now completely deflated, and felt both anger and disappointment. Before we got married, I thought his mild-mannered personality made him a good man. Now it was clear, he wasn't mild. He was spineless. His mother-in-law feigned generosity. Don't worry, Qianqin, we're not asking for millions. Just a little something to make up for it, for your brother-in-law's peace of mind. My brother-in-law softened his tone. Yeah, sis, we're not greedy. Just 300 to 500,000 will do. My sister-in-law chimed in. Exactly, it wasn't intentional, so 50,000 should be fine. His mother-in-law praised them. See, they're so understanding. 50,000 is the family discount. Anyone else would have asked for much more. Listening to their coordinated act made me sick to my stomach. 50,000? Just like that? This is how they treat family? My husband weakly mumbled. But 50,000 is still a lot. Qianqin's money is all in fixed deposits. Then go to the bank and withdraw it. His mother-in-law snapped, glaring at him. A problem has come up at home, and you're not helping. Instead, you're siding with your wife? Enough. I raised my voice, my eyes sweeping over my husband's hunched figure before landing on his mother-in-law and brother-in-law. You want money? Fine, I'll pay. At my words, his mother-in-law and brother-in-law exchanged surprised looks, unable to hide their excitement. My sister-in-law quickly added, but sis, we need an immediate transfer. No IOUs, okay? Of course, I smiled, adding a twist. Not just 50,000. If that bowl is really worth 10 million, I'll pay you 5 million instead. Are you serious? My brother-in-law shot up from the couch, unable to hide his glee. My sister-in-law's eyes widened as she clutched her bag tightly, as though the 5 million was already hers. My brother-in-law thumped his chest. That bowl is definitely worth 10 million. Mom had it appraised by an expert. It's authentic Yuan dynasty blue and white porcelain. Exactly, his mother-in-law echoed, her voice trembling with excitement. The expert said it'd fetch at least 11 million at auction. I only asked for 50,000 to spare your feelings. You agreeing to 5 million shows how responsible you are. My husband tugged nervously at my sleeve. Honey, calm down. 5 million isn't a small amount. I shook off his hand and ignored him. His mother-in-law glared at him. What's wrong with you? Your wife is being so responsible, and you're not supporting her? Turning to me, she smiled warmly. Qianqin, you're so sincere. If 5 million is too much to pay at once, we can take an IOU. I trust you. I smirked. No need. As long as you can provide an official appraisal, I'll pay the 5 million in full. His mother-in-law froze. Well, it was appraised before. Why would I lie to you? The expert gave a verbal estimate. It's definitely worth over 10 million. I replied with a faint smile. Verbal estimates don't count. Even when you buy groceries, you get a receipt. You're asking me to pay 5 million, but you can't even provide proof? My brother-in-law nodded and urged her. Mom, sis has a point. Why don't you contact that expert and get a written appraisal? Contact who? His mother-in-law snapped. That expert was from Beijing. How am I supposed to find him now? I spread my hands toward my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Then there's nothing I can do. It's not that I don't want to pay, but without proper proof, I can't just hand over millions. My sister-in-law frowned at his mother-in-law. Mom, why do you always mess up at the crucial moment? If the expert was from Beijing, he must have a name. Tell us, and we'll find him. His mother-in-law hesitated before finally blurting out a name. My sister-in-law searched online but frowned. There's no such person. His mother-in-law looked startled. That's impossible. He's supposed to be a top expert from the Beijing Antique Appraisal Center, a big name. My sister-in-law tried searching again. Still nothing. Are you sure you didn't misremember the name? Impossible. His mother-in-law snapped. I even have his business card at home. I'll go get it. She rushed off and returned within 10 minutes, shoving a business card into my sister-in-law's hands. Call this number. The number was dialed, but the response was, disconnected. His mother-in-law's face instantly turned pale. How could this happen? My brother-in-law and his wife exchanged a glance, probably coming up with a theory, and tried to move past this. Sister-in-law. Anyway, the bowl is broken, and the loss is real. Whether there's an expert's opinion or not, you still need to pay, right? His mother-in-law, afraid I wouldn't take responsibility, quickly agreed. Exactly. Even if we find an expert, the bowl is already gone. Where can we get it authenticated? Qianqin, don't use this as an excuse to avoid paying. I calmly pulled out a bag. Who says it's gone? The pieces are still here. I'm contacting an expert right now to check if this is genuine Yuan Dynasty blue and white porcelain. As I was about to search for an expert online, his mother-in-law grabbed my sleeve, nervously saying, "Wait." She pretended to inspect the pieces, then denied it. "No, this isn't my treasure." I had expected her to play tricks, so I pretended to be surprised. "Mom, what do you mean? Are you saying that the bowl G broke wasn't your porcelain bowl? Then what do you want me to pay for?" "No, no, no." His mother-in-law waved her hands. "What I mean is, my blue and white porcelain was indeed broken by you guys, but not the one in this bag." I signaled her to follow me to the kitchen. "Mom, I installed cameras. After the bowl broke, I collected the pieces in this bag and placed them in the cupboard. The whole process stayed in the kitchen. No one could have switched it. Fortunately, I had already prepared." His mother-in-law's face turned even paler. "Hey, I guess she's starting to lose confidence, right?" Seeing her reaction, my brother-in-law and his wife started to feel uncertain and quickly said, "Sister-in-law, forget about the 5 million. We'll take the 50,000 we agreed on before." My sister-in-law added, "Now the bowl is shattered into pieces. Even if we find an expert, they'll surely say the broken bowl isn't worth much. Let's just go with what we said before, and we'll accept the 450,000 difference." "No way." I refused. "Blood brothers settle accounts clearly. I won't let you get away with it." I quickly logged onto a short video platform and connected to a popular treasure identification livestream. "Hello, Teacher Liang. I'd like to authenticate these porcelain shards. His mother-in-law says this is Yuan Dynasty blue and white porcelain, worth millions, but I broke it and she wants me to pay the full price." I explained the whole situation in one breath and spread the shards on the table, moving them closer to the camera. To my surprise, the expert laughed as soon as he saw the pieces. "Haha, I haven't seen such fake blue and white porcelain in years. If this is worth millions, then every single dish in my cupboard must be a priceless treasure." His mother-in-law, hearing the laughter from the live stream, trembled and rushed to the camera, shouting, "You're lying. You only glanced at it. You didn't even look properly. How do you know it's worthless? What a scammer expert. How irresponsible." Hearing her question the expert's professionalism, the live stream comments exploded. Teacher Liang graduated from the Department of Archaeology at Peking University, appeared on 5 seasons of CCTV's antique identification program, and people still don't believe him? This mother-in-law has probably been tricked. Huh? Bought a fake antique and now wants to dump it on someone else? Honestly, these pieces don't even need Teacher Liang to check. I can tell they're fake just by looking at the glaze. The glaze is so bright. It's clearly a modern craft piece, not even a high-quality imitation. His mother-in-law stubbornly insisted, "I don't care. My treasure is real. I had an expert from Beijing check it, and they said it's Yuan blue and white." Teacher Liang raised his hand to signal for silence in the live stream, his tone sharp and authoritative. "Sister, doesn't your family have anyone who went to school?" The inscription on the bottom of the bowl says, "Made in the Qianlong era." How could a Yuan dynasty piece have a Qing dynasty inscription? Ha 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 ha. This is killing me. Once this common sense mistake was pointed out, the live stream audience burst into laughter. Teacher Liang continued, "And look at the pattern. It's way too uniform, clearly printed, not hand-painted." I asked what everyone wanted to know. "So, how much is this bowl actually worth if it wasn't broken?" Teacher Liang laughed again. "How much is a regular eating bowl worth at your house? That's how much this one is worth. At best, it's worth about $100 as a decoration." No way. His mother-in-law still wouldn't give up. I paid 50,000 for it. It came with a certificate of authenticity, and they said it would be worth millions in the future. At this point, Teacher Liang didn't respond, but the comments started rolling in again. Now they're scamming elderly people into buying antiques instead of health products? When you bought it, didn't it come with an anti-counterfeit certificate too? If it's really an antique, why does it need so many manufacturer certifications? Auntie, open your eyes. Classic scam. How can people still fall for this? And that Beijing expert, if it was that valuable, why didn't he keep it himself? His mother-in-law's lips quivered, but she couldn't come up with a response. She seemed completely disoriented. Teacher Liang didn't say anything more, waving his hand as if offering advice. "You need to think about this and learn. If you don't have any collecting experience, don't try to collect antiques." The live stream ended, and it felt like his mother-in-law had left for a while. Watching her stunned expression and the awkward and frustrated looks from my brother-in-law and his wife, I cleared my throat to break the silence. "The expert said the bowl is worth 100. So, for our half, I don't want it anymore. Second brother, I'll pay you the full price of 100. Okay? 100. Only 100. My brother-in-law muttered. then suddenly asked loudly, "Mom, is this really the family heirloom you were talking about?" My sister-in-law couldn't take it anymore. "Yeah, Mom. You always said this was valuable, and we've been hoping to sell it in the future to buy a school district house for the kids." His mother-in-law, already on the verge of breaking down, now felt cornered by their repeated questioning, and she cried, "I didn't know. I paid $50,000 for it. Why spend $50,000 on these worthless fakes and make us all look bad?" My brother-in-law was furious. His mother-in-law felt wronged. "I just wanted to leave something for you." Seeing her fall apart, I kindly reminded her, "Mom, the other items on your antique shelf weren't bought through the same channels, were they?" This question struck her like lightning, instantly waking her from her sorrowful stupor. She staggered toward the house. We rushed to follow her. His mother-in-law grabbed a blue porcelain vase, turned it over, and looked at the bottom. Her face went pale. "This is a Song Dynasty Mei vase, but it has a Qianlong inscription." My husband picked up a scroll and examined it closely, even dripping some water on it. The ink didn't smear. Could this be printed? And this purple clay pot, why is it so light? It doesn't feel like the one on our boss's desk. My brother-in-law picked up a pot and weighed it in his hands, clearly doubtful. In fact, when I picked up the bowl earlier, I had already noticed something was wrong. All the antiques looked too new. You can't just explain that away with, they were well preserved. His mother-in-law had been fooled into believing in them, but her lack of knowledge in collecting had made her trust them completely. And the rest of the family had no interest in antiques, so they never bothered to closely examine them. Plus, his mother-in-law had brainwashed everyone, claiming these things were valuable. Now, all the glaring flaws were being exposed. My sister-in-law covered her mouth in shock. "Oh my God, are all of these fake?" No one responded, but we all knew the truth. "No, my treasures." His mother-in-law collapsed on the floor. My brother-in-law scanned the entire display shelf. "Mom, how much did you pay for all these?" Tears fell from his mother-in-law's eyes again. "Almost 500,000. It was all the savings your father and I made for our retirement." 500,000? Both my husband and brother-in-law gasped. My brother-in-law raised his voice. "Mom, why didn't you tell us when you bought these? You spent 500,000 on all this junk? This isn't leaving us family wealth. It's digging a huge hole for us." My husband spoke gravely. "Mom, do you still have the contact info for the person who sold these? Did they give you any proof of purchase? We can report it and try to get our money back." She wiped her eyes. "Hopeless. It's been years. Where would I find them now?" Just then, my father-in-law came back from playing cards, heard about the mess, and shouted angrily, "You fool. Didn't you say these things only cost 5,000? 500,000 is our entire life savings. You wasted it all?" He was shaking with rage, grabbed a fake jade bracelet, and slammed it on the floor. With a loud crack, the bracelet split into two, revealing a rough stone core. "Look. This is the treasure you spent tens of thousands on. What a disgrace." His mother-in-law curled up in the corner, too ashamed to speak. My father-in-law's rage and my brother-in-law and his wife's complaints mixed together, making the house chaotic. I stood at the edge, watching the scene unfold, but I didn't feel any pleasure. All I felt was a sense of sadness. From the beginning to now, my husband had only offered empty comfort, without taking any real action. When my brother-in-law demanded $5 million in compensation, he was silent. When I confronted his mother-in-law, he just watched. Even now, with his own mother being interrogated, he only hung his head and said nothing. How did I end up with such a spineless man? I felt utterly disillusioned. I never wanted a life of great wealth. I just wanted a partner who would stand beside me to face challenges, but he clearly couldn't do that. When the turmoil settled and my husband and I returned to our own home, I calmly proposed a divorce. After all, we're in a short marriage with no children, so the sunk cost isn't too high. My husband was stunned. His first reaction, "You want to divorce me just because my family's $1 million heirloom is gone?" I shook my head in silence, my resolve to divorce only growing stronger. Of course, divorces are hard to win if the other party doesn't agree. But I'll stick with it. Because I'd rather cut my losses than stay in a suffocating relationship. It's time to find my true happiness.